This is Bianca. She's 18 years old and pregnant, deciding what to do, trying to decide what to do with the baby. And at the end, Melly is her cousin. Omar pulls me out of the garage. Oh, and they're in this desolate house, isolated, completely middle of nowhere. Okay. Omar pulls me out of the garage into the yard. Crickets croak, twigs snap, water trickles somewhere, and tiny specks of a million stars coat the sky like stardust. Any other night, this shit would be romantic. Omar and I would have had our clothes off by now, desperate and dirty and not giving a fuck. He looks as good as ever too. Damn, why does he gotta look so good? Standing there in a plain white t-shirt, the fade on the sides of his head freshly trimmed. A thin flash of gold peeks out of his neck where the tiny cross his abuela gave him hangs on the chain, tucked beneath his teeth. The flicker in my chest roars into a flame. I remember I'm mad, livid, and twist my face into a scowl. Omar, why haven't you called me? He does a little half shrug, diverting the question like always. Answer me, why? You know I'm pregnant. How could you just leave me hanging? Listen, mija, I know what I want now. Really, and what is it that you want? I want to be with you. That's funny. Did I miss a memo? Omar hates not being taken seriously. You have to look at me, okay? I am so sorry. I was scared. Can you understand that? I freaked out, didn't know what to do. But I know now. I got a job. I can take care of us. In a couple months, we can move out together. Job? What job? Here, working for Cue Ball, he says, chin jerking at the house behind him. Are you crazy? This is not a place you clock in at and get a fucking paycheck from. There's a commotion across the yard as the boys come out of the garage, plop down a case of beer and begin unloading the car like Mary Poppins' purse. Stereo speakers, a laptop, electric guitar, and several small boxes. Omar, did you guys rob a house? He waves his hand as if to shush me. A pair of headlights buzz back and forth in the distance. He pinches his lip, letting out a 3-pitch whistle, and seconds later, Cue Ball is standing out front, wiping his hands on a small towel. We move closer for a better view, squatting down next to the trunk of a tree. The lights grow brighter, the engine louder. Finally, the car turns off the road and up to the garage. A young woman, mid-20s, gets out of the old 90s Accord, her ponytail bouncing. So does a little boy. He's wearing a Superman cape that flaps behind him. She tells him to go back to the car and he shakes his head. She repeats herself and so does he, and giving up, lets him stay. You didn't have to do that, she shouts at Cue Ball. You bring my money? He asks. He's still wiping his hands as if they can't get clean. No, I won't have it till next week. Then why are you here? You didn't have to take our stuff. My son was terrified. He had nothing to do with this. Not my fucking problem, lady. But you took my laptop. It had all my work files on it. I can't. I said, get the fuck out, Cue Ball thunders. He takes a deep breath and his chest, his whole body seems to inflate. The woman stumbles backwards. For a second, I think she'll leave, but then she jumps back in his face. You give it back to me. I need my... Cue Ball reaches into the case of beer and hurls a can at her car, no more than 20 feet in front of them. It hits a passenger door and explodes. Get out, he yells. Get the fuck out. Stop it, she screams, blocking her son's head as if they were next. Cue Ball throws another and another, thunk, 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 on every part of the car, beer spurting in all directions. He points at the boys and they jump in. The air whistles as cans shoot at the car like bullets. Leave my mommy alone, the little boy screams. He puts up his fist and punches the air, left, right, his superhero cape flapping. I feel like I'm cracking open. Omar, make them stop. He sucks his breath through his teeth, but doesn't move. One of the cans hits the windshield. It sits there, shattered, not caving through, and they all try to hit the same spot. The little boy is still shouting, punches in place beneath his mom's grip on his shoulders until finally she picks him up, grabs him and runs to the car without getting hit. The windshield breaks just as she peels away. I turn to Omar. This is what you want for us? For our family? He can't meet my eyes, and even if he could, I don't know if I could look in them anyway. You will never raise any child of mine, I say. I turn around and walk away. Don't be stupid and wander off, Omar calls back. It's only meant to be a few feet. I can't even see that far, but I can't stop. I drift further and further, letting myself get carried away in my own riptide. I'm way past the fence of the property now and immerse myself in the trees. Omar's footsteps are behind me, fast and deliberate. I stand very still. Through the trees, I hear him shout, "If you think you can get rid of me that easy, you're tripping. You'll never be rid of me, you hear? I'll be a part of you for the rest of your life, whether you have this thing or not. You'll see me every day in this space, or you'll remember me every day for killing that part of you." He gets closer, not knowing he's only a few feet from me, then turns to look the opposite way. I crouch down to my knees, rocking myself back and forth. Omar's never raised a hand to me. He's too smart for that. He knows exactly how to lash a whip, how to make me bleed. He's right, though. I'll never be free of him. Whether his face is imprinted in mine, or he's a blot of ink stained to my soul, he will always be there. I have no idea where I'm going. I just know where I'm not going. Backwards, back to that house. I keep following the sound of water until I find the creek. All I wanted was to find it, and I did, so now what? I duck behind a tree and curl my body in a ball when I hear the car in the distance driving slowly, flashlights and phone lights darting, but none of the rays hit me. There's nothing else to do but to keep following the creek. My Converse slosh with mud over rocks and grass, and branches splash the tears on my face. Nearly 2 hours later, the bright blue light of IHOP appears. Salvation! I break into a run up the last hill where I finally get a bar on my phone. One full bar. I know exactly who to call. Melody doesn't ask for details, just a yes or no's. Did they rape you, hit you, drug you, talk shit, or disrespect you in any fucking way? No, I say to all of it. Swear to God, Melody, no one hurt me like that. We drive off. Outside, the sun softens the sky from black to gray, and I'm glad not to be wandering lost in the dark anymore, crying by the creek like La Llorona. Back in my cul-de-sac, Melody parks the car. You know, Bianca, no one would judge you or anything if you choose not to have it. We hugged like we're kids again for a long time, before our bodies changed and complicated everything, before our hearts had ever broken, and we walked around with them perfectly whole. Thank you.